This is Jablam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Bojarinoff and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Jablam Hockey. I'm your host, Peter Bojarinoff, and you can find me on Twitter at Russian98. And I'm with
Paul Zwambag. Hello, everybody. You can find me at Zwambag, ZWAMBAG on Twitter. How's it going, Peter?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I have some pretty big news that I can't disclose yet, but it hasn't been announced yet. But I got some stuff in the works. So hopefully by Thursday, when we record again, I'll be able to update everybody.
Stay tuned for that announced in next episode.
Yeah, hopefully it comes out by then. But yeah, some pretty cool news for me. So stay tuned, everybody. That's a good one.
Stay tuned for that. Other things. So you were telling me your team, you played again tonight, and you guys didn't lose?
Yeah, we are undefeated 2 straight weeks. 2 ties.
2 ties. Nice.
Yep. We tied 5-5. We tied 5-5, and they scored with 23 seconds left in the game, and tied it up.
That's too bad. But you guys did come back in the game. It was like what? What was the lead for the other team?
It was 4-1, and we came back with 4 minutes left. Came up 5-4.
As a Leaf fan, don't talk about the whole 4-1 thing, please.
Okay.
I hate when people talk about it. Don't bring it up.
Okay.
But I will bring up this. The Leafs tonight, when in action, they were down 3-1 late in the third period, and they came back and won. Woohoo! No. Leaf Nation doesn't want these wins. Why are you guys winning? It was still exciting, though. It was a pretty cool comeback. And again, Leafs don't have the talent, but they're working their butts off, and they're finding ways to win some games.
Yeah.
That's kind of exciting. But we'll get right into it. Trending now, the big, huge unveiling of the Leafs logo. I kind of knew what was going to happen. Of course, because the game went into overtime, they delayed it, and it was a whole episode of the Leaf Blueprint. I haven't really watched too much of this show that Leafs TV has created. It's okay. It's a bit of a lame version, in my opinion, of like the Road to the Winter Classic kind of stuff, a little bit gritty kind of thing. Obviously, they don't have the whole swearing and everything. It's more PG, and it's on Leafs TV and stuff. But so they go into the whole episode. They're talking about Peter Holland, how he's worked his butt off to get more ice time. Brian Fraze, he's working his butt. He came from he was an ECHL player last year, and boom, he's in the NHL again. He just made the Maple Leafs. But it took them until the end of the episode, and then it was pretty cool. I did like a bit of the introduction. Shanahan tells the players that he sits them down, probably after practice or something, and Wendell Clark was in the locker room. I guess they had some other guys, classic guys that were there, and he talked about the history and tradition of the Leafs. And then it went into a video, and it was pretty cool. There's guys like Matt Sundin and Sittler and stuff that had just a bit of a 5-6 second, audio clip of them saying something about the Leafs or the other amazing Leafs in tradition. And then they unveiled the logo for a millisecond. It was just there for a millisecond, and then the episode finished. You waited freaking 22 minutes, 30 minutes basically to see this. Finally, the logo unveils. I kind of figured that would happen, and I guess it blew up on Twitter. What were people saying on Twitter, Paul?
The new logo is there's some people that didn't really notice the big differences. They noticed the big differences, but the little stuff, the arch in the lettering is now arched, and it's always been straight for the longest time. So there's the little details in the veins. They have 13 veins to represent 13 cups, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
So there's backstory to the logo. It's not just they're making a new logo. And there's 31 points on the Leaf, and that represents the Gardens opening in 1931. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, the stuff they come up with. And supposedly there's a butt on the bottom.
Okay. So yeah, I looked at it, and to me, I first thought it was a bit of a mustache look, when you were like, "Oh, there's a button." I looked at it. I'm like, "Oh, is it that?" Yeah, I guess I can kind of see it.
So
So
now that it's been pointed out, that's all you're gonna see every single time you look at it. It's a butt.
thanks. I'm
Yep.
gonna think of it more of a mustache. But yeah, again, to me, in my opinion, it does look very similar to the 1963-67 logo that they had, and pretty much they removed the whole double outlining around it. It looks pretty similar to that one. But yes, I like the cool things with you were saying about that, about the whole 13 cups and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I find it a little cartoony, but
Hmm.
if it's going back to the heritage of the '60s when they actually won the cup, then that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So again, they're trying to build a new era. Of course, as a company, you want to make more money, sell more, you know, equipment and anything with the logo on it, the jerseys and everything. But I do kind of like they're trying to build a new team. They're starting from the bottom up again, finally with the whole rebuild. So not a bad time, at least, to do the whole logo thing too, which is pretty cool. Moving up onto they finally rescheduled the games, Paul. Uh, they're going to reschedule the Ducks and Capitals game to Sunday, April 10th, as well as the Flyers and Islanders game also to Sunday, April 10th, and they're both going to be about 7:30. And the Pittsburgh Capitals game is going to be that was supposed to be played is going to be moved to March 1st. I don't know how that one fits, but I know the other two are on Sunday, which is basically the day after the season finishes. So I guess they're going to extend a day. I wonder if they're going to push the playoffs. Maybe they're planning on Tuesday. It might be Wednesday kind of thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, and don't they normally start on a Wednesday, the playoffs?
I think so. I think usually it's a Wednesday. And the thing was, last year was the first year they didn't finish on a Sunday. So usually they have the 2 days off. But then last year they gave them the 3 days off. And I guess they're going to go back to 2 days, at least for these teams that are those four teams that are going to be playing on the Sunday. Everybody else is basically going to get like a 3 or maybe even 4 day off if they're not playing on the Sunday. So it might not be fair to them if any of those teams are playing right on Wednesday night, I guess.
I remember when the playoffs started last year and 3 days off, it just felt like hockey was over. It was like
Yeah.
you thought hockey was over and everybody's getting into baseball and you're like, oh, dragging on, dragging on. When does the playoffs start? And then it's like a bam, playoffs start. So I think with the 2 days off, I think it'll be ramped right into the playoffs. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
I am excited. I kind of do like that they're on Sunday because I usually have my own hockey playoff pool, and we like to make our picks, and that gives me an extra day because I will probably be going on a bit of a short trip to Colorado and maybe check out the Avalanche while I'm there. So I'm kind of happy with
Nice.
that. Few guys are on waivers now. Brandon Proust, Vancouver puts him on waivers, and Mason Raymond, or as I like to call him, Macy, because I think it was Scott Oak or something. Think he said once to him Macy in an interview, so it was hilarious. So I call him Macy now. Macy Raymond also on waivers.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
guess Jim Benning was trying to get rid of Prust to pretty much anybody that gave him an offer, and nobody bit, so he went straight to waivers.
I don't know. I think Proust would be a very healthy addition to any playoff team looking to fill in their bottom six kind of thing. So I think he might be scooped up tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah, he probably could. I think Mason cost way too much, so I don't think he's just gonna
Yeah,
go
his
to there.
cap hit is maybe a little up there.
Yeah, so
He'll go down. All right. Good luck to both of them. And yeah, I have a good feeling about Proust joining a playoff team. So we'll see. All right, let's get right into it. The All-Star game. It was pretty wild. First off, you know what? I'm going to say it. Nashville. Great place for an All-Star game. I've heard it time and time again from player interviews and from people and friends that have been there. Great party city. And it looked like it from any clips that I saw of the entire weekend. Everybody looked like they were having fun. Again, in my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of country. I didn't really know any of the singers, so that wasn't really appealing to me, especially Friday night. Kind of boring, I guess they have to replace that Friday night time, bracket of, where they had the draft the last few years. picking players and putting them on teams and stuff, so they had to fill that in. That wasn't exciting, but it was kind of funny with Matt Duchene playing the guitar on stage, so that was pretty cool.
I'm pretty
What
sure
were
pretty
what?
sure I would not enjoy Nashville. I am not a music guy whatsoever, so
Yeah,
I don't think it would
Paul
appeal.
doesn't listen to any music.
No music. Sorry, everybody. I listen to a lot of talk radio. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Music is not part of my life, so I
Yeah. I
don't
love
think
music. Go ahead.
I don't think the Nashville would appeal to me. As cool as it would be, and I know like live music is way different, and I don't know if the last time I've ever listened to live music, let alone music off a radio or CD. So I don't have any excitement to
Well,
go to Nashville.
I
So
love music. I'm not a huge country fan, especially growing up in the you know greater Toronto area, where country is not very popular, more hip hop and dance and stuff. But I like that kind of stuff, and I like dancing too. And of course, I grew up playing the piano and stuff, so I like any kind of music, and I would probably have a lot of fun there, especially with drinking. So that would always go great.
yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
players looked like they had a great time and like interacted with the fans, and it just seemed like it was that much more open to the fans because the players had such a great time that maybe because Twitter's such a big deal and like
Yeah,
Snapchat and
they
Instagram and
probably
all that
they
stuff.
probably knew where the players were going. A few of the nights, kind of, and apparently a lot of them saw them around town. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's get into competitions. What stood out for you?
The fastest skater really drove me nuts.
Oh, it drove you nuts. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
because yeah, Dylan Larkin is a really fast skater, but he got a head start. He got to start from the blue line, so obviously he's going to beat Gartner's record. Like,
Yeah, he didn't have the stop start thing at the beginning, right on the center ice line, right?
yeah, because Gardner got one step behind the red line. I went and looked back at
Yeah,
old footage, and he started one step
yeah,
behind where Larkin started at the blue line, and the time doesn't start until you cross the red line. And
yeah.
Larkin even stumbled. That's how much like of
Yes,
a
exactly. That's what I was like. I was like,
advantage he had. Like I know he's a quick kid, and he probably could have beat Gartner just straight up if they went exactly the same. But why do they have to change these rules? Like, why wouldn't they know that that's where you start the fastest skater, like just
yeah,
behind the
that
red
is
line?
a
So
good point.
that really drove me nuts. But
Hmm.
other than that, fastest or hardest shot wasn't really too exciting because Shea Weber was the only real
Yeah.
competitive one in it. So
But again, it's hard, man. All these guys are shooting above 90, so they're all excellent hard
oh yeah,
shooters. So, again, Shea Weber is, a level above, but they're all freaking blasting it like crazy. So, wow, they're pretty powerful.
yeah. The one play or breakaway that Larkin pulled was just blew my mind, where he faked his slap shot and like faked the slap shot, but like stopped the puck before it going in and then deked the goalie. That was unreal. It was an awesome play. So that was the highlight, I think, of my skills
Yeah,
competition.
same here. I wasn't, crazy thrilled about the competitions. It's hard to see everything happen. I was watching even the whole competition relay where, they pass the puck and shoot, and then Backstrom and the other guys, and they have to go for the long pass, which is pretty cool. I like how they're really good at aiming really further, better than the short distances. So that was pretty cool to see. And then, the goalie throwing the puck down the ice from his side, yeah, not very appealing, but it is what it is. It's all right. It was all right. So moving on to the game, what did you think about the game itself?
It started off like I thought it was going to be a really dragging game, but then the same way 3-on-3 always works, it seems really slow, and then once you get an advantage 2-on-1, 3-on-1, it just keeps going back and forth. And I thought the goaltending was the best part of all the games. Even the
Yes.
9-6 game, it was just the goalies were unbelievable.
Well, they got to be a lot more involved now because it's 3-on-3. They're almost like they're the that second defenseman, because there's usually only one defenseman on the ice. They're like that second defenseman on the ice, making a lot of deep passes too by the goalies.
Yeah.
I think I saw like again, going back to John Scott. It was pretty cool. I did like his goal. He tipped it in. I didn't like, again, not a huge fan of Glenn Healy. He scores, obviously, it wasn't clean, but he scores, he puts it in there, and Glenn Healy has to chirp him. He's like, no, I think he said something like, oh, nothing pretty about that one. He was like, I think he was offside. He barely put the puck in the net. It wasn't a nice one. He wasn't that great. So and he chirped him even later in the game, which was not that appealing to me. So I don't know why he kind of acts that way. That's why he's not a fan of a lot of people.
Yeah,
but
so
his celly was hilarious.
oh yeah, it was awesome. And supposedly we obviously got to watch the CBC feed of it because we're in Canada, but I guess the NBC feed, Mike Milbury just ripped him apart. And everybody, there's now like a petition going around that to get Mike Milbury off the air because he just, I guess, I don't know exactly what he said, but I guess he just tore him a strip saying like he had no right to be on the ice and he's just going to make a mockery of himself and these guys are going to spin in circles with him. And he didn't look out of place. Like, the dude's still an NHL caliber hockey player, right? Like,
yeah.
And the fact that these guys are that good that they can set up John Scott, and they went out, those two Sharks that he played with, Pavelski and Burns, they went out their first shift and they wanted John Scott to score, and they got him to score. That's how amazing.
Burns was great in the game.
Oh yeah, that's how amazing these guys are. That they can, whatever they want to do, they do. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, if you saw the celly, it was hilarious. That's pretty much a Patrick Kane celly too.
Yeah.
Patrick Kane's known for the whole, like a lot of guys do it too, but especially Patrick Kane is known for it. And then it's hilarious that later on in the game, they get John Scott, and he does a good move blocking out the defender and almost scores. I think Pecorine made a great stop. And then he throws a beautiful pass up the ice on that same play right after Pecorine throws it up, and Patrick Kane scores. And then right after, Patrick Kane, wiggles the glove and goes into a bit of a fight against John Scott. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
And I think it had a little. Yeah, what?
It was cool to see because that's the leading goal scorer having a great time with a guy that's living his dream come true. Like, it was really cool to see.
It was a great story. It's hilarious. So it was good. I thought it was pretty cool. Again, he did win MVP. It was a nice story. You know what? And I don't know. Like, I know we picked the other teams to kind of win, but again, maybe we should have went with more of like a storied version, like picking Nashville team to go for, all the players in the Nashville division to go far. So, it was pretty good. Neat for him to win, and they got, I guess, $1 million they're going to split between the team, and he won the Honda Pilot too.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. Our picks, by the way, were pretty much opposite.
Yes, pretty much.
So,
but again, I wasn't thinking, like, you got to kind of go with more of the home team, and John Scott. It was a big story going into it, so maybe we should have picked, those teams.
Well, and there was an interview with Stamkos. I think it was between the two Eastern and Western games, and he was like, we definitely talked about shutting down, like, playing defense in our game, our first game, because that's how we were going to win. And, like, Bergeron was stellar defensively, like he normally is. Like, there was a lot of defense played in this All-Star game.
A lot of structure.
Yeah,
a bit of a structure. It was kind of weird for an All-Star game. In my opinion, I thought, like, again, it was a little slow, especially the first game as they were getting into it. But after that, like, the rest of that game was pretty up-tempo, pretty high-paced. And the second one was pretty much high-paced the whole time. Goalies were great. But again, in the third final game, it wasn't as up-tempo. And again, it's because they're 3-on-3, so they were already on the ice for a lot. They're burning themselves out. And then by the second, period of that one, it's just a little bit slower. Obviously, the goalies did make some great saves, but I thought it was a bit slower. So I didn't like the final as much as I did like the first two games.
Yeah, I felt like it went by really quick.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick because it was, 10 minutes? was it 10 minutes, 2 periods kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty quick. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, and the other cool thing is John Scott, his helmet is going to the Hall of Fame now because of that game. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I might go check out the Hall of Fame if I get a chance. So
Yeah, I usually try to go there about once every 5 years. I've been there twice, and so it's about 4 or 5 years since I've been. So I'll probably go check it out soon.
yeah, especially because we're able to. Like, there's so many fans out there that live so much further away, and I think we take advantage of that Hall of Fame big time.
Yeah. Did you hear about Luongo's tweets? That were pretty funny.
Yeah, he was awesome all weekend on the Twitter sphere.
He was making jokes like, "Oh, don't hurt me, John Scott," and stuff. And then in between periods or whatever, he made a joke about they want to put Stamkos and Komarov together because they're practically going to be teammates next year.
Yeah, and then like hashtag I kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. He's awesome on Twitter. He's good, creative.
So yeah, overall, pretty good at success. Apparently, they had records in ratings and stuff for it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the U.S. almost had as high of ratings as Canada, so just kind of
Wow,
unheard of.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah, it was only by like point 0.4 or 0.5, I think, which is pretty close in TV ratings. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's selling the game. It's cool.
So what do you think about next year? Do you think it's going to be exactly the same then? In my opinion, I kind of thought they were pretty sluggish. So I kind of feel that maybe it would be better 4-on-4. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the AHL All-Star game happened at the same weekend, Sunday, Monday, rather than Saturday, Sunday. And they did a really cool. They divided themselves into 4 divisions as well, just like the NHL. But the teams then played a round-robin tournament featuring 6 games. So each team played each division played each division. So they played 6 games. Yeah, so there was way more games, but they were shorter games. They were only 9 minutes. I don't get why they picked 9 minutes and not just an even 10.
So each game was 9 minutes?
Each game was 9 minutes. There was no periods or switch at 5 minutes like the NHL actually switched at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So maybe NHL can make it 10 minutes and not have period, like just play a full 10 minutes, because 10-minute hockey was awesome to watch. But yeah, by the second half, you could tell they were either tired or pushing and dead tired by the end of it. So
yeah.
And then after the round robin, the top 2 teams just play for the win. And they did it so the first half of each round robin game they played 4-on-4, and then the second half they played 3-on-3.
Weird.
Yeah, so it would kind of the way you want 4-on-4 to be played. They would play half and half. So if they made it 10 minutes, they could still do 5-minute periods, which they're kind of used to.
Yeah.
Because they play that in actual time, but then play 4-on-4 and then move it to 3-on-3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That might make some sense.
So yeah, I think they could learn some from AHL, and the AHL kind of does, they kind of give the rules to the AHL to test out. So
yes, that's true.
It'd be interesting to see what. I'm pretty sure a lot of the AHL guys enjoyed the format as well, and I know the NHL guys enjoyed the format. So I don't think the 3-on-3 is going anywhere. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. They did well, so they might as well keep it for a bit.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Did you see anything else, like the competitions and stuff?
The All-Stars, AHL All-Stars, they did throwback. I don't remember what game it was. It was one of the Saga games, I think, where they do the puck relay from the one side of the ice to the other, and they have to go through pylons.
Okay.
Kind of like there's a mini version of it in the puck relay in the NHL, but they do the whole ice surface from one side to the other, and it's a lot more like carving, and it really shows off the puck relay. So that one was really fun to watch. And they did the old school accuracy shooting where 18 seconds is put on the clock and it counts down, and they're trying to hit 4 for 4. They're not trying to be the fastest shooter to get 4 shots off.
Yeah.
Which
I
think,
like that. Go ahead.
I think that's the way the NHL needs to go, because
more old school.
Yeah. And you could see Malkin when
Yeah,
he went
exactly.
for his shot, he hit 3 for 3, and then he
He's
kind
like, come on, fans, come on, fans. If he didn't do that, he probably would have done it. So that was kind of cool, though.
yeah, and if he did do it and then hit it and took longer than a guy that
Yes,
did 4 for 5, he
yes,
wouldn't have won because
exactly.
he took too much time. So I don't like the counting upwards. I like put 18 seconds on the clock. They got 18 seconds to hit 4. Try to go 4 for 4.
Yeah,
That's the real talent. So other than that, they did the fastest skater. It was I think they did like the '96
yeah.
NHL where they put a guy on each side of the ice and they did
Oh,
the
go at the
full.
same time.
Yeah,
Nice. I kind of like that for the just for that competition specifically for fastest skater. It's cool when they go at the same time.
yeah, and like
Kind of feels like the Olympics almost.
yeah, and you see who crosses the red line. They have
Yeah,
that split view, and it's pretty cool to see. So
I do like that.
yeah.
All right, Paul. So what do you got for us for fantasy up and down?
All right, so we're getting down to the final 5 weeks of regular season fantasy hockey. So
I
I'm gonna give
noticed on I noticed on Yahoo for this week they combined it with last week for you know versus.
yeah. So instead of having like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday last week, week
Yeah.
16, they combined last
Yeah,
week and this week into week 16. So
see the All-Star game and so many days off. Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, so all the week numbers are going to be based on that kind of schedule. So if you're like Fantrax, or I'm not sure if ESPN did it. I know Fantrax broke it up into 2 different weeks, so kind of made it tough. But okay, Chicago only has 13 games left before fantasy hockey playoffs start. So they have 2 weeks of only 2 games played for the duration of a week. So
Don't use their players.
yeah, that means they're going to be limited. You're going to get
Hmm.
teams that are playing 15 and 16 games in that amount of time. So that's 3 or 4 more games played. So Chicago is one to look out for. Try and sell your, like, I'm not saying sell Kane and Taves,
Hmm.
but like maybe sell Hossa or like maybe a Seabrook because they're going to
Yep.
play less. They have less games played if you're making a push for your
Yep.
playoffs. So another team is
And that's if
Oh, let's go ahead.
that's if you're in that kind of league. If you're in like a point based one, you might have a max of games played, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't matter as much.
Yeah,
But if you're
exactly.
in
Yeah.
a week to week, you want to do this.
Yeah, head-to-head matchups. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah.
Vancouver has 14 games in that same amount of time. They have 1 week. Week 19 is only 2 games played, so they're the other low. They're the two low teams that have 13 or 14 games left to play. So those are two guys that I'd be selling my guys
Yeah.
if I can. And the teams that have the most amount of games, Boston and Tampa Bay have 18 games left. So that's how big of
Have
a
you taken?
difference. That's how big of a difference it is, right? So if you can
Yeah.
sell a Chicago guy for a Boston guy, you're getting 5 extra games just
I think
for the trade.
I'd probably pick up a couple of Tampa Bay guys because I have a good feeling they might start winning even more games.
Yeah, so if you can move like a Hossa for like Kucherov,
Kucherov.
or yeah, you're getting
Yeah.
5 extra games of Kucherov.
Nice.
It's just going to help you. So that's a great advantage. Another team to beware of, Carolina, has 2 weeks of only 2 games in a week, week 17 and week 20. So if you got like
Mhm.
Eddie Lack as your goalie, you're only going to get guaranteed 2 starts that week.
I just picked him up recently, like a week ago, because I know he's going to get a lot more games because of the injury to Ward and stuff.
Yeah, so you're going to have to watch out on those weeks because
Hmm.
if Lack has 2 games and he only plays one of 2 of those games, and
Yeah.
say like you have Niemi as your other goalie and he plays 3 games in that week, he's only going to
Yeah.
play 2 of those games. You might not hit your minimum, right? So
That's true. That's a
yeah.
good call.
And then for when playoffs start, these are teams that are going to have really terrible playoff weeks. Week 22 is when playoffs normally start. So there's no teams with 2 or 5 games, so pretty even for everybody for the first playoff week. Week 23, the 2-game teams are Buffalo and Colorado, so watch out for that if you're planning for your playoff schedule. Week 24 is the normal championship week because week 25 you normally don't play because players are sitting if like
Yeah.
Washington's way ahead. Ovechkin's not going to play, so Yahoo tries to bump the playoff or championship week back 1 week. So
Hmm.
week 24, Edmonton and New York Rangers are the two game teams. So
All right.
beware of that. And if you do play week 25, Edmonton again has 2 games in week 25. So Edmonton is really scary. If you got a week 25 championship week, your semifinals and finals, you'll only play 4 games with Edmonton Oilers. So
All right.
yeah,
Good things to look out for. We'll probably have to go back to that again in a couple of weeks so people know for the playoffs.
yeah, and it's a month until trade deadline. So
So, all right, that's pretty good.
yeah,
All right, this week we are, or at least this episode, we're team ISOing the Ottawa Senators. You know what, Paul? I had them just on the outside as well as like other teams looking into the playoffs, and I was surprised how well they played in the first half of the season.
yeah, they're playing. They were playing well. I think they've
Yeah.
kind of fallen off a little bit, but
It's tough. You know what? Their main core is still really young, and in my opinion, it was shocking how well they played last year. But again, a lot of that had to do with the Hamburglar. I think he pretty much willed them into the playoffs last year. So it looks like the same thing. I think they're just going to finish outside looking into the playoffs. But yeah, the first half was really good.
yeah,
Again, their team starts and ends with Erik Karlsson. That guy is the Senators. I'm surprised. He is still a pretty good, huge leader on the team. And again, he's one of the best defensemen in the game.
yeah, he's top 5 in scoring as a defenseman. That is unheard of this day and age. So good for him.
He's huge. Bobby Ryan and Mike Hoffman are having pretty good seasons, especially Ryan. He wasn't playing too well, I think, last year for a while. But nobody else has really taken it upon themselves to step up and take the top 6 role, right? Mahalik is getting older, not playing as many games. MacArthur having a concussion and missing most of the season so far. And then those other guys like, Chason, Lazar and stuff, they need to take that step up. They're the ones that are going to be the future of this team to take them to the next level and go into playoffs. They need more of those guys to take that step up and be top 6 guys. Not too sure what happened to Greening, but he's been pretty much AHL bound for them. He hasn't been playing that well. But again, and then Anderson in the pipes has had a decent season. So, again, they expected maybe Hammond to be a huge guy between the pipes again for them this year, but he's had it rough and injured and stuff. So
Yeah, I thought Mark Stone would have had a better year than what he did. But
he's still scoring a lot of goals though.
yeah, he's got 12 goals, so
Yeah,
not a ton of goals, but
not enough. Yeah,
and it's kind of he had a started four game season, 19 game season, 80 game season, so this is kind of technically his sophomore season. So
yes, and usually there's a bit of a slump there.
yeah, so that sometimes happens with most of the guys in the league. So maybe that's happening. Mika Zibanejad is kind of taking a step up. He's looked pretty good.
Yeah.
While Turris has been kind of injured. So
yeah. But yeah, Mark Stone's got to be a lot better, especially with that negative 17 plus minus. That's pretty big ouch for the team.
yeah,
Nobody's even close to them there. But oh well. So what do they got for prospects? I know they drafted Colin White, and he looks like he could be a huge, top line guy for them in the future.
yeah, but it's definitely future because he's a
Yes.
NCAA guy. So
He just started too in Boston College, right? So it'll be at least 2-3 years maybe before he joins this team.
yeah, unless they can talk him out of leaving, but those NCAA guys normally finish their degrees or
Yeah.
schooling. That's what they want to do with their life. So can't really fault them
Good
for
for
that.
them.
But yeah,
Good for them. He was huge in the under 20 though, 4 goals, 7 points.
yeah, he was really good and fit with that. Once he moved up to Austin Matthews and Taychuk line, he looked really good on that line. So
Another stud they got, right, is Shabbat.
yeah, Thomas Shabbat. Yeah, he's going to be a solid back end guy.
Yeah. What'd you think of his play? I thought he played pretty good, but he isn't that physical. But he's got good vision and great passing skills.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he's going to be lighting up the scoreboard, but he's
Mm.
definitely a 3-4 guy. I think he would fit into the lineup there once he does make it. So they got
Yeah, I
a
think. Go
they
ahead.
got a lot of winger depth, like
Hmm.
Matt Pemple, Shane Prince. Those two guys are gonna back like on the wings. They're gonna be pretty good NHL guys. I wouldn't say they're gonna be top three, maybe top six, but they'll probably be like top nine guys. So
Hmm. I thought Pumple would probably join the team by now, but he's only played a handful of games. So I guess he's not ready yet.
yeah, and then Nick Paul, the guy that they was part of the Spezza trade, they really wanted
Yes.
this kid in the Spezza trade, so he should be coming up soon. He probably next year he should make the team. So
So they have some pretty good pieces coming up.
yeah, and they're still a really young team. Like
Yeah.
they have a young nucleus, like Zibanejad, Stone, Hoffman, Ryan's still pretty young. Carlson's young, so they definitely are a young team that are going to keep growing, and they're always competing. They're definitely
Yeah, they're in there.
yeah, they're not definitely not a basement team, that's for sure. So
Yeah, I still don't see them being improving a lot, at least for another 2 more years, maybe. But maybe when those guys, maybe Shabbat comes in next year, and then Colin White and some other prospects come in, 2, 3 years down the road, and then maybe they'll be a really good team then.
yeah, and they're going to be. I don't think they're going to re-sign Chris Neal or Chris Phillips. They're
I'm
both
surprised Neil's still playing for an enforcer in his role on the team. He's still doing his job out there, so
yeah, it's 36 years old. It's
yeah,
impressive.
impressive for that kind of role on a team. All right, let's move on. Next, we are going to talk about injuries. Paul, what do you got? Who's coming back and
Oh
who's out?
man, who's coming back? Nothing but Connor McDavid is back.
Wow, he is finally back. I actually watched some of the game tonight. He
Of,
looked pretty good.
of
Pretty
course you
good.
did. It's the Oilers, so it's time to watch the Oilers again.
Exactly.
Everybody stopped watching as of November 3rd. Everybody stopped watching the Oilers because McDavid was out, and he's back and he looks awesome. Just
Yep.
his goal tonight that he scored. We're taping on Tuesday, so Tuesday night's game. His goal, he walks through three guys.
Is that the winner? I guess.
I I'm not sure if it was the winning goal or
I
not.
yeah, I was at the gym, so I didn't see the ending of the game. So
Yeah, he walked through three Columbus guys and then just deked the pants off of the goalie. Just his typical fake to the backhand and reach around the goalie and just completely stop in front of the net. That move he has is just killing goalies. Nobody knows
yep.
what to do with him. His speed out there is just second to none. Nobody can keep up with him. He's so fast.
He's so fast and he's so agile.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's fast. Like I don't think if you put him out like Dylan Larkin that he's gonna hit the
Yeah.
record. He's just got that quick first step. Like his speed adjustment is
Yes, exactly.
unreal.
Yeah. He's so shifty and agile. It's insane to watch on the ice. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So does he get back in the Calder conversation by the end of the year?
You know what? I think he probably will join the conversation, but I can't see him stealing like the top spot of like Panarin or any of those other guys. It's how many games does he have left?
He's
Roughly
got
30.
31 games left.
So 31 games left. Yeah, how many did he actually have? Like almost a point a game.
Yeah, 15 or 14 games played, 15 points. He's 1.07 points per game.
So then he'll get roughly that. Yeah, he's in the top five in my opinion, but I don't know. I'd be shocked to see him even nominated. I think it'll be close. Maybe they might give it to him if there's nobody else even close. But I like Panarin, and then Domi or even Goddess be here if he keeps it up. I think those three are in locks for the nominees. But you never know. He's the future of the NHL, so they might want to put him at least as a nominee.
I think he will be a nominee just on
Yeah,
name alone. But if he goes
yeah.
over a point per game leader as a rookie, I'm pretty sure he's going to take the call there. So
Wow, you think he's gonna take the whole thing? Hey, wow.
if he scores another 30 to 35 points in the 31 games left,
Yeah,
that'll put him at 45 to 50 points.
yeah. And even though the other guy, like Panarin, might be like 15 points more, you think he's gonna take it from him?
Yeah, I really do. Yeah. And especially Panarin, it might hurt that he's playing with Patrick Kane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that might hurt because he's playing with the leading point getter.
Well, and I think it'll really depend on where Edmonton finishes. Like, they're last or if not second last in the league, and if they move up and they're no longer a bottom five, because of him, like if they start going on this tear that they just start winning. So I think he'll definitely be in the conversation. That's for sure.
Yeah. So you think if he keeps on at that pace, but the Oilers stay at the bottom, you still think he might have a shot then at winning it or nominating?
Yeah, I do. I think if he keeps this pace, this 1.07 or 1.1, he'll definitely. He's like top 3 right now in points per game in the league. So
he's dominant.
Yeah. All right, back to some injuries. Cam Fowler came back from a sprained knee. He was out since December 27th, so that's going to help the Anaheim back end. And we're just going to fly through these pretty quick to get through them. Matthew Perreault was back from a lower body injury Tuesday night. He was out since the 23rd of January, so that'll help the Winnipeg Jets. Adam Lowry's back, and he scored on Tuesday night. Josh Georges and Nicholas Deslauriers of the Sabres will be back on Wednesday. And Magnus Paajarvi is returned to the lineup on Tuesday. So those are the guys coming back that needed the break from Allstar, and now they're back. So,
cool. Who's out?
Mike Camilleri's put back on the IR with an upper body injury, which is really going to hurt the Devils. The offense runs through Mike Camilleri there. So
there's nobody else that can really score 30 goals other than him. But maybe Palmieri can step up in that spot. So
and the young kid Joseph Blandisi's looking really good. He's been there for a couple weeks and has put up 6 or 7 points. So that'll help. Rick Nash is still out of the lineup as of Tuesday night with a leg injury. He was supposed to be back right after the All-Star game, and it's delayed, so he didn't play Tuesday. Johnny Boychuk is questionable to return for Thursday's game, so I think it all depends on how he's feeling. Michael Neuwirth is out 7 to 10 days with a lower body injury.
Wow.
So he's been playing pretty good for the Flyers when he's been in the lineup. So, and they called up their young kid, Anthony Stolarz, was recalled from Lehigh Valley.
He could be good. So
he's having a great AHL season, so that might help. Nicholas Cronwall's been placed on long-term IR with that knee scope we talked about last week. So
that's rough for them.
That really hurts the Red Wings back end. So,
damn.
Yeah. That's all the injuries I got. So, there was a lot of them. A lot of guys getting injured.
And Paul, who's your prospect of the week?
My prospect of the week is Frederick Allard from the Chicoutimi Saguines in QMJHL. He's a 2016 draft eligible. They also had a short week because of the BMO CHL NHL Top Prospects game on Thursday night. So he only played 2 games. He scored a goal and 5 assists for 6 points.
Wow.
Yeah, and then CHL goaltender of the week is Luke Opilka from Kitchener Rangers. Mm-hmm. He was 2-0 with a shutout, .50 goals against average, and a .979 save percentage for the St. Louis Blues 5th round draft pick in 2015. So he got drafted by his hometown team. He was born in St. Louis, so that's kind of cool to see.
That's cool.
So yeah.
All right. And the last thing we want to mention, NHL.com, they launched a new website. I think the app is new as well. You know what, Paul, in my opinion, it's a little too wide and spread out, but I think the web designers, especially like back-end guys and stat geeks, are really going to like it. What do you think?
As of right now, a lot of the guys I've follow on Twitter and stuff aren't a big fan of it. I think there's a lot of bugs that they're got to work through. I don't think they beta tested it, which they probably should have because they're such a big corporation. But
yeah, they're a big company.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of bugs they have to work through, but it looks a lot like ESPN's website, so I think they are mimicking that. And I tried to watch Rogers Game Center live tonight, and I might tweet Rogers Game Center live because my Edmonton Oilers feed was cutting out pretty much every minute. It was lagging, so...
I know a lot of people were tweeting like they didn't like it and this and that, but when I went on there and I was looking for stats and everything, yeah, you might have had to go a different way or to look at things, but I found everything I wanted to, like, you know, who scored the goals and, you know, who was on the ice. It was telling me that, and who had the points and everything. So it looked pretty good to me. I don't know, I liked it, but yes, there were some glitches, like certain things were shifty and, you know, what day it was exactly. You have to scroll down and up, and it was in the right place. But, you know, they still got to fix things, it looks like.
Yeah, haven't dove too deep into it, so I think I'll find a lot of more things I don't like about it than I do like. But it's all change. People just hate change, so get used to it, people.
People just like to hate things.
Yeah, exactly. There's never any positive feedback on Twitter, that's for sure. So,
all right. Well, that's it for this week. Next episode, we're going to talk about, you know, we're going into the final third of the season, the final stretch. We're going to talk about, you know, who we think has the best shot to make the playoffs that is currently sitting out. I already have a few that I'm thinking about, maybe even Montreal, depending on when Carey Price comes back. So we'll see. We'll talk about that. And again, we'll team ISO another team and everything. And I'm your host, Peter Rojarnoff. You can catch me on Twitter. Paul?
Yeah, at Zwambag, ZWAMBAG. Yeah, tune in Thursday. Big news for Paul Zwambag. So
yeah, so we'll see what Paul's up to.
Yeah.
And we'll check out that other stuff. And again, remember, go on Facebook, find us there, like us there, and subscribe, rate, and review us on any of the other places we're at. iTunes, Podomatic, Blueberry, and Stitcher. See you next time, folks.
Bye.